What's going on YouTube? I'm back again with another video. This video I want to talk about it's a little different video. One of the things I want to do in this channel is want to start being more honest with you guys. This channel I'm still kind of figured out what channel is that going to be. What I'm mainly going to focus on this channel, but I do want to give you guys my experiences. One of the things I said in the description box to give you guys my personal experience, so I hope to help you guys who are young or who are going through things I went through, coming up and stuff like that. I may want to do a channel for young people, but I know my channel's probably gonna reach out, a lot of different people, parents, kids, teenagers, senior citizens. So, I'm just gonna stay in my lane and do what I love doing. But I want to do this video because I know there are a lot of you out there, who are, you know, who have questions about, Christianity, questions about faith, and questions about, is it possible to actually live this thing? And I just want to give you guys my experience, and just letting you guys know that, you could be young and live for God. You could do this when you're young. You don't have to wait till you're 30. You don't have to wait till you're 60. You do this when you're in your teens and when you're in your early 20s. When you're in high school, college, whatever. So that's why I want to do this video. This video is going to be called my testimony. Being a teen, in Christ. I just turned 21, so I'm now a young adult. But I spent a bulk of my, walk in God as a teenager, because I came to the faith at 14. I came to the Lord at 14. So I was young. I was a freshman in high school and whatnot. I grew up in a church. I knew God. I knew about the Bible. I grew up in a Pentecostal church, so it was very, charismatic, very Jesus, shouting, speaking in tongues, that type of deal. So I grew up in that type of environment. So when I got older, that's when I started realizing, I need to know God for myself. And at first I was one of those people who say, I could wait, or I have time. I'm a good person. I was one of those. I was never the private Christian. I always had respect for God. Always had. I knew not to curse in church. I knew not to, say God's name in vain and whatnot, like saying GED and stuff like that. I had respect for God, but I was never really serious about being a Christian. Even about a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're a preacher." Oh, and this is before I got saved. People saying this about me. Now that I'm openly, acknowledging Christ, I don't consider a preacher, but before that, he was still saying, "Oh, you're different. You're weird. You're odd. There's something different about you." And so for me, being a Christian was, it was all about religion for a while. It wasn't really about relationship, because everybody said they was Christians. When I was in high school, where I live right now, especially because I live in the South, so the Bible Belt, whatnot, North Carolina, people, you'll find people. Everybody calls them Christians. Everybody says they're Christian, but you'll hear them curse up a storm. They smoke weed. They go to the club. They sleep around. And we were in high school. And we were 15, 16 years old, 14, 15 years old. And I was seeing it. And I was seeing this stuff young. So I knew at a young age that I don't want to do that type of stuff. I knew not to do drugs. I knew not to have sex before marriage. I knew that type of stuff coming up, but I didn't really have an example of somebody young and on fire for God. So it was difficult. It was different. So it was difficult transitioning from being a regular teenager listening Lil Wayne and Drake and J. Cole and stuff like that to now being a born again Christian, where I'm listening to Lecrae and The Truth and listening gospel and Christian rap. It was a difficult transition, but by the grace of God, I made it through. What was that moment that got me saved was, I had at school, I was at an after school program at this church, down the street from where I lived at. It was a community church. It was a church mother. She was talking about, secular music. She was talking about, we saw with Illuminati type of stuff like that. And we was like, okay, a lot of people, I mean, this around time, Illuminati stuff was coming out. You hear the stuff like Jay Z and Kanye West was selling soul to the devil, and you know, I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna listen to those guys no more because I knew that because I don't want to be any part of that. I don't want to be any part of dead worshiping type of artists. But then she was saying, well, second, well, even though they're not worshiping the devil per se, they're not openly saying they Satanists. They still glorifying sin. They still glorifying sin, which is giving the devil praise. And I never thought of it that way. And I was like, what? That kind of really hit me like a ton of bricks. And then like a week later, I just thought about it, and prayed about it. And then once I started reading the word for myself, once I started listening to like Christian rap, that's when I just deleted every secular song off my MP3 player, PSP, and I just I was just seeking God from then on. So that's what got me converted. It was March 6, 2011 when I got saved. So I've been saved for over 6 years now, and it's been a journey. I mean, let me tell you guys, being a Christian as a teenager, being a Christian is hard enough, but when you're a teenager, like wow, you really gotta find a team because when I was a teenager, again, living in a small town, living in North Carolina, I mean, it was, being a Christian was just religion to a lot of people. It wasn't really about relationship. And a lot of young people who I, went to school with, who I went to church with, it was just, yeah, I go to church, but, I'm not really into, I'm not really into it like that, or I love God, but, I love God on Sundays, but Monday through Saturday, I'm turning up. So like that was the mindset, I saw a lot of people with, so like I felt like kind of a misfit because I was always around people, sinners, I mean, which is not bad, but when you're a babe in Christ, you feel kind of lost. And like I had to, I mean, I had church mothers, I had my mom, I had older people around me that knew God, but like it wasn't, but it wasn't really, but I couldn't really relate to them, in a way. I couldn't really relate to that, because I mean, they was older than me, of course, and then another thing was that a lot of challenges I faced, was a lot different, like I mean, a lot different. So like, it was very hard finding people who, it was very hard finding that balance, and being a teenager, just and then being a Christian as well. So, but what kind of helped me start, fuel the fire I had for God was Christian rap, gospel rap. If you watch my old other videos, I talked about Lil Cray and guys like that. I've been listening to Christian rap for over 6 years now. I've been, the first Christian rap song I ever listened to was Lil Cray, Jesus Music. I found it on LimeWire. Yes, this was when LimeWire was still around. I found Jesus Music on LimeWire. I was looking at Christian rap songs. I said, "Oh, what is this song?" And it was a song called Jesus Music. I was like, "Oh snap! This beat go hard," And then I started listening to like The Truth and people like The Truth and Triple E, Tadashi, like and all those cats, great. So like, I mean, it was a bit old at the time, but it was still, you know, but it was still cool to me because it was young people on fire for God. The beat was decent, the lyrics was dope. So like that's what really got me into that really just gave me that zeal for God at a young age because I was seeing young people wearing baggy jeans, you know, tattoos, do rags, hip hop. They have a hip hop, you know, style with but they had Jesus in their life, and I just didn't see that around my area. So like seeing that just really gave me a zeal for God, and then around that time that's also when I got into poetry. So like me just writing poetry and just me just talking, just listening to Christian rap, it really influenced me a great deal early on my walk. But as I got a little older, as time went on, that's when I started getting tested. Girls was, hitting on me. Dude was trying to give me to smoke weed. He was just trying to justify like, oh, well, smoking weed is not bad. It's, God created weed and stuff like that. It was a challenge for me. Um, it was a challenge for me going through that phase, that transition again, because I didn't have nobody to really decide me. I was, learning things on my own. I was reading the Bible on my own time. Even though I grew up in a Christian household, it wasn't really like, you had to read the Bible every single day, so like I didn't really have nobody to really teach me, like how to handle these type of situations. So like it was very hard, going through. So it felt kind of lonely when you're young and you just came to the Lord, and then you had nobody to really, right, had no examples around you. So like that was a really tough time for me going through high school and just learning about God. That was a really tough time for me, you know. It was, but what kept me from backsliding? Well, not well. There were moments where I fell. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I did everything right, because trust me, I did. There was some plenty of times where I fell, but like one of the things that kept me from just saying like, "Oh, f God, I'm done with this. I'm a backslide. I'm gonna just do what the world's doing." What kept me from doing that was, one, just the fact that God, spared my life at such a young age. Like when I was born, like I was told I was going to live past 6 months. I was told I was never going to read. I was never going to be able to talk. I had a, you know, bowel structure, so I had my intestines outside my stomach when I was, born. So like I had a lot of, ailments going on as an infant. I was never going to read, never going to talk, never going to walk. Like I was gonna be a handicap for life. And then now when people look at me, they like, oh, it's not. I remember him when he was a baby and stuff like that. So that's what kept me from, backsliding. And then another thing was, just a comfort. I felt like, even when I felt like giving up, like there's always felt like the peace of God, on me when I felt like, things was getting too hard, things wasn't going right or whatnot. Like it was difficult, to say the least. Um, but with what I said, I know it gave me, ideas on writing my poems. Like if you go to my website, it's on my homepage. I'm linking down below. Codepento.com. You'll find my book. I made a book called A New Beginning, and it came out a couple of years ago. It was to tell you my journey of being it's a poetry book telling you guys my journey of being a Christian, during, high school. So definitely check out that book. If you go on my website, it explains on how you can buy it and stuff like that. But anywho, this journey was, it's not easy. Um, it definitely wasn't easy for me. But I dealt with a lot of temptation. Again, with the females, with the the smoking weed is a sin debate. Um, the the identity issues, like who I'm supposed to be. Just struggling with identity issues and a lot of stuff like that. Just me not having, just me, you know, coming from, just me, not having really nothing to really identify with per se. So like I had a lot of struggles, coming up in the Lord, but I'm still here. I'm still saved. I'm still into my word. 6 plus years later. So that's why I feel like I could do these videos now. I could talk about it. Because I know that so many of you are going through the same thing I'm going through, and I pray that I'll be able to help you guys out, where I could talk to you guys on like Instagram or Snapchat or YouTube or whatnot, because so many young people struggle with this. So many young people struggle with the idea of coming to the Lord. So many young people struggle with the idea that, oh no, I can't, how do I know God? How do I know, is God real or not? Or how do I get saved? Like some young people struggle with that, and getting saved is just all about saying, it's all about saying, Lord, I know that you had the sinner's prayer, but when you really get saved, it's all about, saying to yourself that I'm not gonna do this no more. I'm gonna give up, a life of sin and not gonna get more to God. I'm gonna dedicate myself to the Lord. I'm gonna go to church or whatnot. If you're not in church, that's a start. I'm gonna read the Bible. That's another big start. So, in other words, you seeking God for yourself. You're not waiting on your mom or your grandma to do it, because the Bible says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all His righteousness shall be added unto you." Matthew 6:32. So, like, if you really serious about giving life to the Lord, you gotta really seek Him. You gotta really go after Him. You can't just wait on Sunday service. You can't wait just for Bible study. You gotta seek Him for yourself, and you gotta seek Him on a regular basis. You can't wait to Sunday morning. You gotta seek Him on a regular basis, because this right here, this flesh right here, will get you into all types of mess. Like, believe it. Like, this flesh, the flesh. When I say the flesh, I'm not talking about the skin of your body, but I'm talking about like your outer you. The part of you that's the sinful part of you. The part that wants to lie, the part of you wants to curse, the part of you that wants to do evil things. That's the flesh. So, like, you got kill this flesh daily. You gotta, like, pray. You gotta read the Bible. Fasting is also a great tool and killing this flesh. So, like, there are a lot of things we're gonna talk about on this channel, dealing with praying and fasting and all the stuff you need to do to become a Christian. How do you walk this thing out, and whatnot. But, like, I'm just gonna tell you guys my experience. So, I gave my life to God in ninth grade. 10th grade coming around, I was, I was kind of 10th grade came around. That's when temptation really started hitting me. With the females, smoking weed debate, and also there was a YouTuber who I used to watch, back in 2011, early 2012. He's still on YouTube, but he's not as big as he was back then. Tiario. I found out about him. I found out about Tiario. Hampton. I don't know his channel name right now, but just type in Reach Records Exposed, and you probably see him. He's a dude with grills in his mouth, tattoo in his right cheek. Head. He always wears his headbands. Would say Jesus on his headbands. Always wearing his jerseys. If he was on YouTube way back then, if he was a Reach Records fan, a Christian rap fan way back then you probably know who I'm talking about. Or just type in the word Tiareo. Type in the word Tiareo, and you'll see, and you know who I'm talking about. But anywho, I was watching his videos, back in late 2011 or 2012. Because at the time, I was a babe in Christ, and I was a big Lecrae fan. Around this time, Lecrae was trying to transition from overtly Christian to now being, what he is now, which is, more mainstream, more, more inspirational, and less about, biblical stuff. He was still biblical even when he crossed over, but now he's like, he really went inspirational. When he got signed to Columbia, but Lecrae was, a role model to me, because again, he was young. He was passionate about God, Like his earliest albums, like Real Talk, After Music Stops, Rebel, Rehab, The Overdose, like those albums right there was like a huge, inspiration to me coming up in the faith. Like it was a huge um it was a huge tool that give helped me, learn about God, and also helped me, how do I handle situations and how do I evangelize to people my age group. Like that, like his music was like a big part of my early Christian life. Like that Lecrae was just that dude. And so when I heard, so like, around that time when he was getting famous, it kind of worried me, because I was like, why you not calling yourself Christian rapper no more? Like what's the problem? I mean, I didn't think he was a secular artist. I didn't thought of him as a secular artist, because again, he was still talking about, Jesus and the Bible and stuff like that. He's just not as revert as he was in his first album. But anywho, getting a little off the tangent. Tiago exposed him. He's saying that, Cray is evil, he's demonic and stuff like that. And at first I was like, okay, this guy is a little crazy. Well, I mean, why is he, that bashing the Cray? And but like his video, but like he made some valid points, because he wasn't the first person to expose the Cray. I mean, it was another dude. I mean, he was a pastor. I forgot his name, but like C.S. Lewis, C. Lewis, I think was his name is. But he pastor. He been exposed to Christian rap for a long time, like years. So like, Tiario, I mean, because I was a baby in Christ, because I didn't really know any better, and because I was drawn by his video, I just started following him. I started watching that video, and then eventually I started watching more videos, and then next thing you know, I just been, I'm watching his videos every single day for a good 7, 8 months or so. Like all throughout 10th grade, I was watching his videos. But what kind of made me stop watching his videos was that, he was talking about, oh, Christianity is the white man's religion, Christianity is evil, white people are cursed by God, like stuff like that. Just kind of made me stop watching his videos. But like, what really made me stop watching his videos was a dude, it was a Hebrew Israelite dude, Rango, Rango TV. I know nobody probably know who he is, but like I mean, he doesn't do. I mean, he said that he used to be. I mean, even though he was a Hebrew Israelite, I watched some of his videos because, even though he wasn't a Christian, per se, he still, knew the Bible. He still taught, good doctrine. At least in my mind, he did. So I still watch his videos, and like he was exposed to him. He did a 5-hour video, like literally a 5-hour video exposed to him. Like I know yes, I didn't have no life back then. So like, I know you guys went like, what? Why are you watching a 5-hour video exposed to another dude? But again, I was serious about God about that back then. So I didn't have a social life. But anyway, I watched the video, and he just exposed him, saying, well, he taking money from Christian, using ads, to Christian ads, even though he's not a Christian anymore, or he's bashing Christianity, but yet he does Christian rap. So stuff like that just really just made me stop watching his videos. And then next thing you know, I never watched a TRE video from then on. From like May 2012 to now, I haven't watched a TRE video, a full TRE video ever since. I still watch some of these videos after that, but I was not a TRE fan after I saw that, video Ringo did back in 2012. So anywho, I was a big TRE fan. I was to the point where I actually got in trouble. I actually got an argument with my mom. My mom actually whooped me for watching his videos. Like literally got a belt and whooped me. Like so, because of she didn't like what he was talking about. She was saying that, oh, he's saying this is demonic and that's demonic, or stuff like that. At the time, I mean, I knew I didn't agree with everything he said, but because he was on fire for God, because he was so passionate about what he was talking about, it drew me, it drew me to his videos, and like, and then it got me, and then it made me, and it got me thinking all these kinds of crazy thoughts. So I'm like, you know what? I should stop watching his videos. So like I eventually stopped watching his videos, and then I was like, okay, well, he's gone, and Ringo's, and he was like, so I'm back to doing what I did when early in my walk, reading the Bible. You know, I was watching P4CM videos, which is a great Christian group. P4CM is pretty awesome. You guys should check out P4CM, Passion for Christ Movement. They do evangelism videos, spoken word videos. They do concerts. They do this thing every year called Rhetoric. They are ministry based out of Los Angeles, California. They've been around for 11 years now, so you guys should definitely check out Pastoral Christ Movement, P4CMP, the number 4 CM. Check them out, they are dope. I actually shout them out in my dear spoken word poem, so please check them out. I'm gonna link their channel down below, because you guys will be, if you guys are believers, y'all be blessed by P4CM. Even if you're not a believer, even if you're not a Christian yet, I highly recommend you check them out, because they are dope poets, dope, just really cool people. So anyway, I started watching P4CM. I started, watching guys like Propaganda and stuff like that. And I was really, and I was really, I was really just going back to the basics of, what drew me to Christ. I was still, I was still a babe in Christ, but I was more wiser at the time. I was more, aware of false teachers at that time, after the whole TR situation went down. But I still kind of felt that void, because I was like, man, who are the real, like, I still kind of felt that void, because like, again, my with me struggling with identity issues, like, I didn't have, like, nobody's really beside me, and like I didn't really have nobody young, a young, like somebody like Lecrae or D1, like somebody like that, who's young, black, urban. It doesn't have to be necessarily be black, but like somebody who's young and on fire for God and genuinely love God. Like I didn't really have that, in my life, because, again, growing up in Pentecostal church, it was all about like church shouting and, singing and stuff like that, which is nothing wrong with those things, but like, it was never really heavily focused on discipleship. It was never really focused on, like, purity and stuff like that. Like, I mean, the Pentecostal church like goes through so much, scandals. It's just like, I mean, every church goes through scandals, but like Pentecostal church is like, you see so much, like you hear about holiness, but like you see so much, so many girls get pregnant out of wedlock. You see, so many guys become effeminate. Like, so, like it was like there was no really discipleship. I never had like a strong community of Christians. So like seeing that in the CHH community like really inspired me. It really, encouraged me. So, but me not being in a small town and not having a community like a progressive minded Christian community, like it really kind of, it really put a void in my heart. So I was like, man, who's young and who's just on fire for God, and not really carried on to college, But eventually, I found another YouTuber who is, she's pretty anointed. She's pretty, um, I mean, she's pretty anointed, Revy, spiritual. You know, I mean, she has the Pentecostal fire, but like she's very but she's very relatable as well. Nicole, I am because of you, Hinton. I am because of you, the YouTube channel. She does hairstyling. She's a minister. She's a mom, a wife. She has her own book called Those Who Wait on God. Like she's big on Christian dating and stuff like that. Like you guys should definitely take a I am because of you. Like I mean, when I watched a video on Christian dating, like that video put a tear on my eyes, like for real. Because at the time, again, I was struggling with the idea like, oh, should I date or should I not date? Because I'm a teenager now. I didn't have, at the time, I didn't, well, I'm still single, but like when you're in high school, you're told that you need to get a girlfriend. You need to get with somebody. So like, I for a long time struggled with that idea because again I didn't really have nobody, you know, I didn't really have no young male, you know, to really decide with me. So like, I always thought, oh, you need a good girlfriend. So like, I was just, but I knew that I knew what I wanted from my girl if I had one. But at the same time, I was like, man, who can I really, cause like being on fire for God Christian, like I felt like nobody in high school was for me. So like when I watched that video, on Christian dating she did. I forgot what title of the video, but like she did a 4-part video on, wait on God, and stuff like that. Being single, wait on God for your singleness, I think it's called. For the guys and for the girls, and like it really touched me because I like never heard anybody talk like that. Like I never heard nobody saying that you should wait on God, like especially a young person. Like she was in her 20s at the time, so like it really was encouraging hearing her stories and hearing how she had to be with a man, and then she eventually stopped, you know, dating after she got saved for a couple years. Then she met her husband, and now they married and got kids, and like it was very encouraging hearing that from her. So like so that was a YouTube that kept me through on my latter part of my high school years. But I still kind of felt lonely because again I still felt lonely. So by the time I finished high school and went to college, I was saying, let me go to New York. New York was, I'm originally from New York City. New York City was, a place where I was born at. So I felt like New York would be a great place where I could get everything, all the things that I, didn't have down here. No, I didn't have a community of believers around me that of young, like I had, like, cause the church that I want to go to in New York, my Godmother's church, it was a Pentecostal church, but it had young people there. They were doing stuff like they were doing open mics, they were doing block parties, they were doing all types of stuff like that. Stuff that I wish my church wasn't doing. They were going to great adventures, they go doing park. So I thought like me with them was gonna be my answer to the loneliness I felt um, during high school. So and then also I was huge into spoken word poetry at the time, so I felt like New York would be a great place to get into my poetry career. It would be a great place to start my career as a spoken word artist. And then also was that I had family up there, so like I had to worry about sleeping in the dorm. I had to worry about paying um, mad money just to live on campus because my cousin, she worked at a university in New York called Lloyd University at the time. So I felt like I would have my life set if I moved to New York. So I turned down this college opportunity in Charlotte, North Carolina, Art Institute of Charlotte, and I moved back to New York for a year, and it was a disaster, to say the least. First of all, I didn't go to college that I was supposed to go because college is just being weird. So I ended up going to a technical college in Brooklyn. Um, I was there, and then I had to end up taking out student loans because I had to pay out of state tuition, even though I had my New York State ID, and you know, it was hard finding a church home because by the time I moved up there, my godmother started going to her church, and so I was going to the church that I grew up in, my mom's old church, our old church, just didn't really felt the same, and then I went to the church that my cousin went to. My cousin's not really a huge church goer, but like she went to this big church, in Brooklyn, and like it's a well known church too. Like that's where gospel singers go to. Jacqueline Carr went there. Diamond Clarkin goes there. Mary, like all the big name gospel singers perform there, and then like what major evangelists preached there. So like Brooklyn Tabernacle, which is the name of the church, was going to be the place that I would have thought I was going to be able to get discipled. But then I was like, you know, this is too much. I'm traveling, I'm taking the train everywhere. And everybody lives, way out of my reach. Like I live in Queens, like I was in Queens, and everybody's like in Brooklyn and Staten Island, those places like that. So it just felt kind of lonely, and then I was like, man, dang. So I end up so like after a year or so, I say, you know what, let me move back down here, because this is too much. I'm paying way too much money. I had to live with my sister. My sister was up, in my old apartment that my mom left. My mom still had her old apartment up there. So I live with my sister, you know, my sister and stuff like that. And it was just way too much chaos, like way too much drama. I was like, I can't take it no more. So I moved back down here. Then I started all over again. I moved back here, started over again. Because I still own student loans, I can still own loans to this day, which hopefully, by the grace of God, I pay them off, in the next 2-3 years or so. So I'm like halfway done. But, you know, I ended up coming back down here, had to start over from scratch because my student loan debt, I had to, you know, I couldn't get my transcript, so I had to like start down here as a freshman, even though I was already a sophomore by that point. So I had to start back, the college now as a freshman. So I did that, I did that. I was happy to leave New York at a time. So I did the whole, community college thing, go live at home type of thing. So my first year at the college I'm at now, it went by. It was a breeze. It went by pretty smoothly. And then my second year, last year, it was kind of, okay, well, things kind of changed a little bit. My brother wanted to move to another to another college. My younger brother, who was a year younger than me, he wanted to go to college in Greensboro, North Carolina. So like, I had to, my mom had to take me because I still didn't have my driver's license yet. I still didn't have my driver's license. I still don't got my driver's license yet. But like, that's another thing I'm praying about. So my brother was taking me to school. Now my mom was taking me to school. For that first semester of 2016-2017 school year, my mom was taking me to school every day, or either that, or I was riding the bus, which sucks. Like truck transportation system in a country. Who, Lord Jesus, I had to pay $3 every single day to come and go. So I was paying like $3, $6 a day, and I was in school 5 days a week. So I was paying $30 a week, just to go to school. So like it was hard to save money, and it was so but eventually my brother came back, so I wasn't riding the transit bus no more. You know, but last year I was kind of like, okay, well, this first year I was just kind of, I was resting, but I was hoping to get a job. I was hoping to really do the college thing, because since I was back here and I had to pay student loans, like I want to do something. I don't want to just go to college, go to school, and come home. Like I want to do something meaningful. Like I want to do spoken word. I want to you know travel more, because I felt like I was missing out. I felt like, I could be doing so much more. I felt like, God, why did you throw me back down here, Because, originally I came back to North Carolina to go to the Art Institute of Charlotte, which is a college that I applied for, before I came to New York. But my mom said, you should come back here instead. So I came back here, and I was like, man, it's great and all. I like school, but like I was just, going to school and come back home. Like I just felt, I felt like I was missing out. So like, and then plus I didn't have my driver's license yet. I don't have my driver's license, so like I couldn't just go drive it anywhere. So I joined the Lamp Club. I know I did that, which is a leadership mentor program at my school. It was nice and all. I had fun. It was kind of slow at first because a lot of people was in the club left, so I had to like be the leader of that club until we get new counselors. Now I got new counselors, so like it's pretty stable right now. But it was just so like I was just like, man, I want to find like purpose, like because like I felt like I've been dry for so long. Like God, these past few years has been felt dry, and like I want to do something meaningful, like because I felt like I wasn't, I was a Christian. I was reading the Bible. I was seeking God, but I felt like I wasn't really doing, you know, I felt like I wasn't really doing what I'm called to do. So that was my big struggle all throughout last year. Um, by the second semester of the last year, things kind of picked up a bit. Met this young kid. I met this young kid. Well, he was pretty cool. I mean, he was a high school student because my college has, early college, so they have a program for high schoolers. So like, he was a freshman in high school. He was pretty cool. He was a bit nerdy, but I enjoyed being around him because there was something about him that kind of like attracted me to him. And then he told me one day because he was in my, I mean, he wasn't in my class, but he kind of walked with us in my gym class, and he kind of said out loud that he was autistic, and I was like, what? It really like blew my mind because I was like, wait a minute, what? At first I wanted to say, well, let me sure he said it because I know when you say stuff like that, you kind of don't want to say it like out loud, but like he was blunt about it, and like I was like, oh snap, I am too. So like we just connected from there, and then he was just like we clicked and we was talking together. We was talking about video games, we was talking about TV shows, we talked about being a teenager, and eventually I was telling him about my walk in Christ, and he was like, oh my God, you're so innocent. Like he was really amazed that my he was just amazed at the type of person I was, and like we just clicked. We would just continue talking every single day. But eventually, like a month later, his parents was like, "You don't need to be talking to him, because you don't need to be talking to him, stuff like that." And then like I was like, "What?" And then like next thing you know, like we just stopped talking to each other. I mean, well, it ended from there, but like we stopped texting each other, and then I was like, okay, well, maybe if he met my mom, things would change. But like he's like, nope. And then next thing you know, our friendship just ended from there. And I was just like really just like, what? Oh my God, like it really hurt me when he said that. So I that was a big struggle for me. So I felt like, man, God, why? Like I thought we was gonna be close. I felt like I was really a good influence on him, but like it was kind of my I kind of should have I kind of should have expected that because he was a lot younger than I was. But at the same time, I felt like, man, we had so much in common, like our stories, our struggles. Like I felt like he was a little brother to me, but it wasn't meant to be, I guess. So like I just felt lonely again, and like it was just really hard for me. Um, this year, earlier this year was just really a struggle for me because I'm like, man, like God, I thought like God, like I thought he was gonna be the one for me. Like I thought he was just a person I should be around with. So I was just going through that phase of my life for a while. Then then a couple of weeks later, my sister came and visit, and she brought her friend from the military. Her friends from the military. They had two sons, and like this one kid was just like we was talking, and then like he was talking about like a favorite rapper and stuff like that. I was like, oh, okay, he seems pretty cool. And then but what interested me about this kid was his kid, he was homeschooled. He was pretty he was a lot, like he was super young. Like this kid was 12 years old. I was like, okay, am I talking to a 12-year-old about old school hip hop? It felt kind of it was kind of weird, but it was cool at the same time. That we had so much in common. And then next thing you know, we was talking about like church, cause like his parents, didn't couldn't find a church home because the churches in the area was, they felt like they was hypocritical. So like I felt like okay, maybe maybe if I could talk about God about to him. I mean, I knew I probably wasn't going to hang out. I knew I'm probably not going to really go hang out with him too much because he's like so young, much younger than I am, like a decade younger than I am almost. But like I felt like talking to him, I felt a sense of purpose again. Cause I'm like, man, for so long I felt like I just felt dry. So like, so that's been my life currently. Um, but just to encourage you guys, I know I've been rambling too long. It's been almost 50 minutes since I've been doing this video, but I just want to let you guys know that being a Christian, seek God, seek God for yourself. Don't don't rely on your pastor. Don't rely on your parents. Don't rely on your grandma, whatever. Seek God for yourself. Um, be around people who are believers. Be around people who are who know about God. People who have a relationship with God, not just people who say they're a Christian, but people who actually read their Bibles. People who actually um, you know who actually want to give up, who actually killing the flesh daily. They're not just saying I'm a Christian, but next thing you know they curse somebody out without thinking about it. Like somebody who actually seeking God. Be around those few people. If you can't find those people, then find people like on YouTube or on YouTube that's spiritually grounded. That could really teach you the Word of God, or because I mean, there are so many people. I mean, you're gonna need discernment, because there are a lot of false teachers around, unfortunately. But when you're really seeing God, God's gonna lead you to the right people, I believe. So don't get discouraged when everybody around you is sinning and doing crazy stuff. Just keep your head in the Bible and just keep praying. God's gonna find the right people to help you and minister to you and stuff like that. Another thing is, for you Christians, you're going to need to listen to your parents, but with honoring your parents, you also going to need to balance that with honoring God, because I know not all our parents are like super spiritual. I get that, but one of the things that helped me was that you know one of the things that helped me with that struggle, because some things my mom was very old tech. My mom was very old tech for me. So like there's some things that she would never let me do. So like, but I know that my mom thinks I'm not spiritually mature. So like, it's so you just need to pray for your parents. That they'll understand where you're coming from, and that they can you can reason with them, and that God will touch them and whatever area you're trying to go into. Because I know when like my call I'm into poetry, my mom wants me to do something else. But my mom feels I'm not gonna make enough money as a poet and whatnot. So just try to just pray for your parents, and God will speak to them, and stuff like that. And also I recommend listen to I mean if you're a person who likes hip hop, I would recommend listen to guys who are, I mean, it doesn't have to be like overtly Christian per se, but like somebody who was like who is positive, who's speaking, um, you know, who doesn't have to be overt. When I say overtly Christian, I'm talking about like a Shiloh or something like that. Somebody who is just speaking like theology and the Bible and stuff like that, but like it doesn't have to be that deep. But it could be somebody like Lecrae. Lecrae, for example, his newer stuff at least is more or less it's about God, but it's about like real life issues, like stuff like Lecrae and D1. Those are two artists I recommend. Gemstones. I'll do a video talking about what Christian artists I recommend. But if you're into like more like CCM, Toby Mac is pretty cool. Um, V Rose, Britt Nicole, So like there's so many artists out there that you can listen to that does encourage and that glorifies God at the same time. So with that being said, thank you for watching this video. I know this video has been a long video, but I just hope that this video encourage you guys who are thinking about getting saved, or those who just got saved and don't know, what you need to do to get, stay saved. Hope this video encourage you. So signing out.